and knowledgeable, and if they had no training to learn at a less accelerated pace than they did when they bought 100 pools and they're working 6 days a week and scrambling to keep everything together. So my opinion, lesser is better and scale up.
And how about people who've never bought it or sold a route before? So those are the new buyers. How about people who have a route or a larger company? I don't know what the different profiles are, but
Yeah.
any advice for them?
Advice for that: give me a call.
Yeah, yeah.
Literally, I probably get on average, I probably get at least 2 phone calls a week of just people all over the country that, exactly as you just said, I've never sold any pools before. I've built this up to you know X amount of pools, and I don't even know where to start. I don't know what it's worth. And um, so literally, I've had probably a couple hundred over the years conversations with people, going through their company, like going kind of line by line, like how many do you have, how tight is it, what are your rates, your repair revenue, just, I mean, all a plethora of different questions, that I can ask, that I know, being in the industry 20 plus years, that gives us a really good idea. Also, I know kind of what the not kind of I know what the market is doing at the time. So, um, I especially here in Arizona where home base is, but just knowing what routes are kind of sort of going for here and there, um, I can give people a really good idea of what they could get for their company. And then, the other big question I get all the time, like, do I have a sample contract that I can provide to them, like, that spells everything out? I do not give out any contracts, and that's a legal reason. Every state is different, to a degree, not a lot, but in how they want these transactions to look, and just there's just different. For example, off the top of my head, we don't really deal with anything on a water table basis here in Arizona. Like, that's not really a concern. In Florida, water table and certain concerns and liabilities and waivers, it's a huge concern. So just even in um, disclosing certain things within the transaction, and just the history of pools. So I don't offer a blanket contract, um, but I've held the hand of many people, walked them through the process, helped them build a contract that suits their needs, and go from there. So, mhm.
Okay, cool, cool. Who are the um, profiles of people that you work with? Is it mostly maybe single polars or people with maybe a few techs working for them? Do you work with anyone who's larger, like private equity people? What are the different profiles that use Pool Trader?
It's really a pretty balanced mix of all of those. Yeah, not too much private equity, or venture capitalists. I have been contacted by those huge companies, but uh, by and large, it's single polars or a husband and wife team, with 1, 2 technicians, uh, or on the larger scale, some companies maybe they've got 5 or 10 technicians, but when you start getting into the bigger and bigger companies, uh, those guys have almost assuredly been around the block, and they've already, just through being time in the industry, they've been through buying and selling processes. So they don't they don't really need me for input or advice or counseling, but they definitely use Pool Trader
Yeah.
to buy and sell. So they use the platform as a tool, but my involvement is not. They don't really ask me for my direct involvement with it. So more so single polars or smaller operations are who reach out to me directly.
Okay, great, great. And then um, final question. What do you think the state of the pool route market is right now? Someone who wants to, have a sense of how things are. Maybe they're questioning what they could value their route at if they sold it. what would you tell that person? What is the current state of the market for selling and buying routes?
The state, well, not to toot my own horn, but with Pool Trader being the tool that it is in the industry, nothing like this has ever been in the industry. What I, again, not to toot my own horn, but like we've never had a platform where these transactions can happen, especially free, without the use of a broker or anything. Um, so that part of it is phenomenal. The marketplace is huge, and being able to make connections and transactions is easier than it's ever been. Um, the current state of things, I will say right now, uh, as the economy, as things ebb and flow as they do, right now, buyers outnumber sellers 10, maybe 20 to 1. There are way more buyers than there are sellers. And I get contacted about that a lot, not just here in Arizona, but nationwide. Just, there's the amount of routes and companies for sale is it's at a low right now. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but just uh, the market truly does shift, just like with everything else. Prices high, prices low. Um, right now, the supply and demand, the demand is way higher than the supply. But the cool thing is that even with social media and just technology, being able to search for routes for sale, it's never been easier. So it's a good time to be in the industry and be active in that way. Um, no matter what the market conditions are, but it's a good thing. So
And then how about like valuation numbers, guys who have routes, they know how much money they're making. Are the heuristics of 10 to 12x, are those fair numbers for someone to have a heuristic in their head? I've heard people criticize those and say maybe 7x is more reasonable or something like this.
it all depends. Again, there's a plethora of questions that need to be asked. Um, you know, uh, as far as the how tight is the route? What are their current rates at? Are they on the high end? Are they on the low end? Uh, you know, um, and is there going to be any sort of guarantee period? Are they willing? Do they want all cash? Are they willing to have some money down and then finance? All of those different questions kind of weigh into a true evaluation. But yeah, the I would say to answer your first question, 10, 12x, 10 is between 8 and 10 has been the vast normal of what I've seen in these transactions. And some people might balk at that and say, well, well, the brokers, they're selling routes for, 12x all day long. Well, they are, but they're taking 2x right off the top for their fee. So it's 10x still. And and you're not to bash brokers. They provide a service, but I definitely feel like as time goes on, that service is becoming less and less needed or even necessary. Like when I sold my business, although my business, it was unique and it was smooth, but contacting an attorney, having everything notarized and due diligence being made, uh, anybody can do that, and you can do it for a fraction of the cost. Even going to a lawyer and going through all those means, you can anybody can put money in escrow. You don't need a broker to do that for you. Anybody can do that. So the service they provide can easily be replicated, as easy as, to use the analogy again, buying a used car private party versus going to a dealership every time. Not necessary, can be easily done. So um yeah, I'm sorry, I lost my train. What
No,
was the
just
question?
to follow up on that briefly. In terms of brokers versus no brokers,
Yeah.
is there something that, I know it sounds like your experience has been with brokers, maybe they've been a little salesy or maybe sleazy even. Um, is there, like, if someone is considering brokers, is there something that they should look for in a good broker? Or what services might someone, if they're looking to sell their route, and it sounds like you provide some services to people. What are the type of things that someone will need to get figured out?
You know, by and large, what I found, as I said, brokers provide a service,
Yeah.
and they tout that it's all hands off. You give them the information, and they put your route for sale, and they'll get you top dollar. By and large, uh, it's so driven by the commission. It's hard to find a really good one. Um, and in all honesty, there is no broker that's doing certainly not going out on the route and verifying the quality of the accounts, or even looking at the books. Not Some brokers do, but they don't even look through the books. They take the seller's word for it. I make this. This is what I'm averaging monthly, and this is where my concentration of accounts are. Great. Let's put it for sale. 12x. Boom. We'll get you about it. Private party transactions, I feel like due diligence is done way more often, and it's it's just so much smoother, so much more often. Not to say that private party transactions can't go wrong or bad. They do. Of course they do. Again, back to the used car analogy. Can you buy a lemon, or just get lied to by somebody on Craigslist that the car was this, and all the maintenance is done, and then you buy it and it's like, oh man, the guy snowed me. Yeah, it can happen, but just really doing your due diligence, and especially if they allow you to do uh, a ride along where you can see the accounts and hands on. If they deny you to do that, red flag, right? Um, I see no real true benefit other than if a broker gets a seller or a listing in a very specific area, and it's exactly what you want to buy, and it's right in that, would you go to that broker? Well, sure. Yeah, they've got a listing, they've got it right where you want it, and the price seems to be fair or reasonable. Other than that, though, I truly don't really see a need to ever really use them.
Great. Well, we'll call it there. I really appreciate your time
Yeah.
today, Joe. If people want to check out Pool Trader, there's pooltrader.net. There's the Facebook group. And how can people get in contact with you?
They can contact me through Facebook Messenger, or email joe.pooltrader@gmail.com. I'm pretty easy to find overall, but yeah, happy to speak with anybody that ever has questions, or wants advice or consultation. Happy to speak to them.
All right, great. Thank you for your time today, Joe.
Sounds great. Thanks so much.